Hello Hero, it's Lucy Lonon with a little bit of a financial reading for you with the remainder of this deck. Let's go. We got a 9 of coins, that's a good start. This is like financial independence. It's also because of this little bird listening to your own voice, your own intuition on what it is that you do next. Watermelons might be relevant. I'm not really sure why, but that's coming through as a thing. 4 of Swords in reverse is like you've been sleeping on something because you were afraid of what the consequences would be if you were fully cognizant of it. That's kind of a weird one, but it's like with the watermelons, this is maybe giving like avoiding the news or avoiding hearing about a certain development because you were afraid of how it might affect you. And that's not just financially, but it's kind of like you need to flip that attitude and then your finances will flourish, because there's like an avoidance going on is what I want to say, and it's because there's a perception of external circumstance being too much to handle if you fully engage with it. But I think you're going to be all right either way. Justice in reverse, there is a sense of like injustice in general, maybe like an unjust world, because again this, the watermelon stuff that's been going on social media, and then avoiding the news, and then injustice, it's like all leading to sort of like feeling overwhelmed by the current state of things as they are. So that could be you. And the reason it's coming up in a money reading is because that's the kind of thing that blocks somebody from being able to listen to their intuition when it becomes an overwhelming thing. I'm not saying don't engage in sort of keeping abreast of events and maybe even involving yourself in activism. But what I am saying is that sometimes like avoiding any news of anything completely because you feel so overwhelmed and stressed by it is something that's like inhibiting the natural flow of stuff. So it's finding a balance between like being aware of what's going on in the world, but also not getting so aware of it that it stops you from doing what it is that's your individual job to do. Because if we all do that, if we all follow our purpose, overall, communally, events get better, right? Page of Swords. It might be useful to speak to somebody about this, particularly someone who, again, with the little bird, is in touch with their kind of inner or spiritual self. Link to bookings is in the comments, by the way, if that person is me, but this could be just like more of a friend or just someone you trust in general. 9 of Swords in reverse. There's a feeling of like the stuff that was blocking you being kind of lifted out of the way. But also, again, with this crying family, it's like with the acknowledgement of the broader things that are going on. It's like involving yourself back in the world in order that the world can be in a kind of flow with you. It's all one big cycle. So if you take yourself out of the game in order to kind of recover from how heavy things are right now, that's all well and good, but it's going to mean that you're out of the game in every sense, in love, in finances, in all of it. There's kind of a pause on everything. What needs to happen is engagement with balance, and you can see that this figure in the middle looks very kind of serene and balanced and not worried about events as they are, even though they're acknowledging with the swords the truth of what is, right? So it's finding that happy median. And I would guess, because you started out with such a financially positive card, that the work that you're doing right now is less of a focus on your actual work or your actual career, and more on like how you balance what your state is like outside of that, just in general, considering world events or considering like how your family, your friends, all that sort of stuff are affected by the big stuff that's going on for everybody at the moment. High Priestess, again, this is about turning to your own intuition on things, getting a bit of a better barometer for like what is your threshold of overwhelm versus what is useful stuff to know, and like the extent to which you can be involved in a broader way and contribute and be philanthropic and the rest of it, without getting to a place where you then can't function in that very sort of independent energy as well. 7 of Swords and 7 of Wands reversed. There needs to be an end to defensiveness about being betrayed somehow, or about others taking advantage of you financially. This could be on an individual basis if you've been hurt in that way, but it could also refer to like advertising, corporations. and their kind of attitude of general watchfulness in terms of how other people are manipulating public opinion in order to pack their own pockets, right? And that's a very good thing to be cognizant of, but I think you might have like overburdened yourself with the preoccupation of it to the extent that now it's like any kind of involvement in what is in the end quite a capitalist environment, is going to be a bit of a drain on you, a bit of a strain on you. And it's like there's a call to examine that and be like, okay, there is being in that sort of an environment responsibly, and then there is just like staying in trauma to do with it. And the judgment that absolutely everybody is out to get you, manipulate you, get your money off you, or change your opinion is something that is going to inhibit the flow of money and abundance into your life, which in turn is going to inhibit your ability to help others who are genuinely in suffering in a sort of more acute fashion. So yeah, it's like weird that it's a money reading and it's talking about all this, but I think you really need to examine your relationship to the media, to commerce, to how you give and receive from other people, and how much you engage with world events, and how that has an effect on your psyche in terms of the peaks and troughs of your own financial development and well-being. Because the more independent you are in a sort of positive way, the more that you can then be there for other people who don't have the chances that you've had, right? So it's taking on that responsibility to not overburden yourself, but also not be completely out of the loop and like, I'm not listening to this la 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 kind of stuff. And finding a happy balance for yourself at a kind of emotional and participatory equilibrium, so that money can flow in and out with ease and you can be of use, which I think is what you're craving anyway, right? Yeah.